All right, our Jeff Pegues is in Washington right now. Jeff, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Let's go ahead and start with Putin's denial. What do you make of that?
Well, I can tell you what law enforcement and intelligence officials in this country think of something like that. They've heard statements from Vladimir Putin before, and they don't put much stock in them because there is a history here behind a lot of his statements. And if you look at the past, for example, in Ukraine, at the time when there were troops in Ukraine, Putin denied that there were troops in Ukraine, and there were clearly troops in Ukraine. And so he has said things in the past that lead U.S. officials to acknowledge, and you've probably heard this before, that they don't put stock in what he says. He is not credible. And so to this issue as well, we've been hearing from our sources over the last 6 months that these were Russian cyber attacks, and they know because of the hacking units that leave these signatures behind. So they know that there are specific computer signatures, and I'm trying to simplify this here, that point to Russian hacking activity. And that's kind of what you're hearing today in the Senate Intelligence Committee hearing. You're hearing about what these Russian hacking units do and what they are capable of. And this is what these senators are talking about when they discuss preventing this from happening again.
Jeff, walk us through the Senate intelligence hearing today. How is this going to go down? What do you expect? And what stood out to you so far from what you've heard?
Well, just the detail with which they are going through this wave of misinformation and how it works, these Russian tactics. There is something that some in the intelligence community and certainly in the cybersecurity community refer to as the Russian playbook, where they carry out these cyber attacks and then use misinformation to distribute that information. And in this hearing, you're hearing some of the details of how this information warfare is carried out, not only here in the U.S., but also in Europe. And this is a Russian strategy to disrupt by putting out erroneous information. They can tweet it out. They can they get a hold of these computer networks. They turn them into botnets, which can then be controlled to spread disinformation. So in a lot of ways it's complicated, but in many other ways it's pretty simple what U.S. intelligence officials and law enforcement officials believe the Russians tried to do here during the 2016 election, to create an atmosphere where there is misinformation going around. It can disrupt a system. And that's what investigators say the Russians were trying to do during the 2016 election. And so what's important about this hearing is that the American people are hearing this information because, over the last 6 months, I've talked to people out in the world who aren't familiar with this topic. They've heard about Russian cyber attacks, but they don't really know what it really involves and what happened during the 2016 campaign. In a lot of ways, the issue has been politicized, but what you are hearing in this Intelligence Committee hearing are people who are not from the political realm, but from the tech industry and former intelligence officials who have knowledge about what the Russian playbook is and how it is used across the globe.
All right, Jeff Pegues in Washington. Jeff, thank you for breaking that down for us. That's a lot to take in.
It is.
All right, thank you.